the funny thing about this is like usually like whenever we do these is like just like random raw conversation, but with this one coming off of playing Mortal Kombat 11 and Mortal Kombat 1 back to back, what would you say like the biggest glaring differences that make you enjoy one versus more than the other?
In terms of MK11, I actually am I'm a KB enjoyer and a flawless block attack enjoyer. What I don't enjoy is, aside from a handful of characters, you know, if you go for, say, a 3-button string that can be canceled into a special move, let's take Noob's forward 2 string. If somebody jumps at any point, either in the gap or right away in neutral, you are getting full combo punished just because the opponent jumped. And there's a bunch of examples for that. So that one will like make me really frustrated. But other than that, I mean, I just think there's more really good characters in MK1 I can play. I don't think every character in MK1 is better than MK11, Noob being actually an example I have more fun on 11, but it really would be how consistent combos hit for scrubby gameplay, like if somebody's just jumping, and then obviously breakaway, you know, everyone talks about that. So kind of that stuff.
So you said that roster may potentially be better, or do you think that that's just because of the character personalities, or would it be like, because the thing about MK1 that I feel like is messed up, and you notice this with the newer characters just coming out, is it feels like the older ones are more vanilla, where like Noob Saibot, he has a ton of stuff, and Ermac does too. So it seems like that's the direction the game wants to go, but we have like all these cool characters, but they don't feel as awesome as the new DLC, and I think that's where they kind of dropped the ball, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I would tweet it into the void, like upset that clearly there was a game philosophy shift in MK1 around July, whenever Ed Boon tweeted that, you know, there'd be a bunch of buffs coming for different characters. And that is an issue in this game. Like, there's a clear difference between base roster, how boring. It almost played in a way that knew it would be like ambush on block, and the most creative you would get was armor combos with 1 or 2 cameos and throw combos. Now, you're right. The DLC cameos, really fun, but they're DLC, which sucks. Like, those cameos like Movado, Chameleon, you know, Farah even, all of those are so good. I can only think of Sector and Jax that are all that great from the base roster, and Sonya. But then even Tremor, I just think, yeah, their design philosophy changed, and I wish a lot of the base rosters got updates. Whereas MK11 kind of has that problem, but at the very least, all the base roster characters have some of the coolest skins you can get from Combat League alone, not paying for, all that stuff. Like, Noob's slow in that game, but, you know, it's not as big of a disparity, even Fujin to Noob.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the thing that, because even just now when we play, right, like, that's probably the most fun I've had playing Mortal Kombat 1 in like a really long time. Not to say like I don't have fun in Combat League, but you know how it is, like when people resort to anything necessary to win. So you may find like the cheesiest thing possible. Because even like you mentioned Scorpion Farah, but that didn't feel cheesy to me. It just felt like a strategy that you had to react to. Versus like I've played against things where it's like, oh, this is all reward, no risk. And I think like that's kind of where the cameos make things a little tricky. But at the same time, I think that if, even just based on what we play now, if you had all those base roster characters and all the cameo characters are just actual characters in the game, I think we would have had some here. Like, I don't really dislike Mortal Kombat 1. I just think that there's not a lot of wiggle room for flexibility of what the game can be. It kind of is what it is, and it's going to be that the like duration of the game is what I'm worried about.
Yeah, it's another thing that, like, even all gameplay discussions aside on this game, like, you know, people like it or hate it, even with cameos, but in reality, to me, I've always treated them as custom variations 2.0. So I like that. I didn't like the original meta of that, but now I do. The big thing is this game feels like a game that would come out in the 2010s in terms of if it's going to be treated as a live service product, even though we pay, why do we not get limited time modes just for fun? I mean, you are the biggest proponent of 2v2, like, or tag team mode. I agree. Like, why isn't that in the game, even as an LTM? Because we had the technology to do that in MK11.
Yeah.
Like, there are the towers where you just call in a singular move from another character, but no, there was also the hidden towers that had straight up tag team, and that came out in 2019. So where are those LTMs in this game? Like, there should just be more added to the game besides skins to buy. I don't know.
Yeah, I think like with all the hoopla around, you know, if because like this is like the crazy thing, like Tom Brady said that kind of took off. He was saying that there should be a chance of Ed Boon being on the hot seat, right? And I thought that was like, it was semi-extreme, but I got where he was coming from. He was essentially saying that with Tekken holding Harada accountable and the same thing happened over Street Fighter, it made the games better, right? So my thing is, I've gotten to a point where I don't really bash MK1 anymore, even though like I know that people say I like would do it for fun, which I don't ever think that I did. Maybe I had like my little moments like where shit would annoy me. But I think for the most part, the most frustrating thing is that there's a lot of potential left on the table. And even like what you just mentioned about towers and stuff like that, or 2v2. I think that those things would have made like a world of difference, and it's only shocking because the MK11 is such a complete package. It almost feels like a different team with this game. Like I don't really understand the disconnect. Like, how do we go from that to this? Because like this game could be great, but where's the rest of it or the optionality?
I think I'm like one of those, because obviously like none of us know, so I know when I say this it's not the truth or confirmed, but I'm always under the belief that like at least in 2019, WB Games had other products like Arkham Knight, or even just was doing better in general. And so you have a more complete product. Now, I would be willing to bet the team is probably smaller. And then two, yeah, this game was clearly pushed out because they needed cash. Like they just needed something to put in investor reports. Like this will sell well, you know, ship it. Finally, we'll do it live service. And I am more in the proponent that like I'm fine with Ed and NetherRealm. Like, you know, I enjoy their games, and I think I just want WB Games to either let the next one cook and realize like your company will fail anyways if you don't allow it to cook, or sell it and just stop making games. Because currently they're just reducing the amount of games they're making, which hopefully means good things for MK, but I don't know. We'll see. A lot has been weird.
So based on like them needing money, do you think like the way the Suicide Squad kind of came and went had an effect on MK1 coming out the way that it did?
Yep, because whatever Suicide Squad, I forget like what it is, but a huge millions of dollar loss, you know, because nobody played it. And then I mean, we're not even seeing like all they have is Hogwarts Legacy. They don't have any Batman games that have come out recently.
Gotham Knights, but I don't think that one did well. Yeah. So like just a lot of that stuff, like I just hope if WB Games wants to hold on to it and we keep NetherRealm, we just, I don't know, let it cook. I'd even be fine with delaying the next game and then trying to throw some creative ideas into here, because it's really going to see if that investor call where they just were focusing on 4 properties is a lie or the truth, you know? Yeah, I think that this is what I worry about, and this is why I think this is why I was going hard. Like once I kind of accepted reality of MK1 being just what it is, like you like it, you hate it, you love it, you enjoy it, etc. But I think the thing that bothered me the most is that okay, so we went from MK11 and we waited in long anticipation of what the next game was. And even recently my memories have been popping up on my social media that shows like the announcement trailer, and I could see like this. It was like a kid on Christmas. Like it was like, no pun intended because Christmas just passed, but it was like a kid on Christmas watching the announcement trailer, right? There was so much excitement in my face about like what this game was going to be. And then it didn't really amount to what it was supposed to be or what we anticipated, right? My biggest fear with that is that if you make Injustice 3 the next game, you got to let it cook just for a little bit. And let's say that Injustice 3 does semi-well, so like it lasts 3 to 4 years. My frustration is we're going into 2025, we might not get the next Mortal Kombat game to 2030 because like they got to give the franchise a break. That's what worries me. Another 5 years for another Mortal Kombat game, bro. And hopefully it's a good one.
Agreed. It's like a scary time period because with how WB Games has been, we could really say it is Injustice 3 next. It might not even be the standard model we're used to, which in a way could be good, but I could see them at this point seeing how this went and trying, like basically they keep the DLC, but then a free-to-play model with even more, because it'll be, if it's Injustice 3, more kids will be playing it, so you would be incentivized to keep it free to play because they don't have money or have jobs. So I wonder if that's a route they go, and then it is all microtransactions, battle pass, and then they sell DLC just like they do now. I really don't know. And you're right, if 2030 is the next Mortal Kombat, I'm with you. I'd rather just an MK2 or MK12, but I just don't know. Would they switch it up completely again? Because MKX, MK11, and MK1 have all been pretty different. And I just don't know if they would, which formula they would keep, I should say.
Do you think that's a problem? Like the different formulas over and over? Like, is that more of an issue for you, or are you like open to that?
I see people talking about that. Like, you can't develop a fan base. I think it was fine, the light changes, like MKX or MK11, like those are pretty different. Run button, dashes, a lot of differences. I don't think they should have gone halfway with cameos. Don't get me wrong. I think personally the cameo system is better than customs in 11, but I think if you were going to go 2 characters per team route, just go 2v2, go all in, because now you've locked yourself in a corner. People apparently don't like cameos. It didn't sell as well. Do we go 2v2 like some people were asking before? Do we go back to 1v1? Like, you just put yourself in a really hard place rather than doing straight up 2v2 and figuring out if it works or not. I don't know.
I think the most fail-safe scenario that you could do if you need to do it, and it's not necessary, but if you were trying to, I know it'd be like much more work on them, have the option for both, right? But if you have to go with one, go with the proof that's in the pudding. Like, you go with one-on-one. And then the second thing is, I can get you wanting to solve some of the problems in Mortal Kombat 11 and like adjusting that to some extent and getting back to that MKX feel. But the thing is, if I'm going back to the drawing board, like let's say I made like my last 4 games and they're all very different, and the most recent one did the worst, I'm going to look at the one that did the best just based on numbers alone, because it's about money, right? And then as far as reputation and how something was received, I'm going to look at that also. I'm gonna do some type of blend between MK11 and MKX, and I keep saying Mortal Kombat 12 because this new timeline stuff, it's not that cool. Like, I mean, you're a Scorpion player. I'm assuming you would want to play Hanzo versus Kuai Liang as Scorpion, right? So like all those things need to kind of go back to like what the baseline was, and then gameplay wise, it feels like you kind of had lightning in the bottle with 11 and the X, so just stick there. Like, it just seems that whatever the biggest gripes were from 11. Take that out, and whatever the best things were from X, put that in. How could you miss? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does it go wrong?
I've like more and more been thinking about it. Like, the fact that MK11 did AI towers, that had like a ranked leaderboard to your AI towers, and like, or not towers, but AI battles versus other players. Yeah. And yeah, that was in the era it came out where like mobile games were popping up. People maybe wanted that idea. You could watch the characters fight instead. But it's possible, they've done it before, 2 different ranked leaderboards. We could just stick in a 1v1 mode and a 2v2 ranked mode, and then just have casuals 1v1, 2v2. Even just having those amount of modes and then adding LTMs on top, already a huge improvement with everything else MK11 had in terms of content. Because I think it's easy, like MK11 was so good for the content and then the gameplay. Yeah, if you just fix that up and then change AI into something else, I think you're right. There is like a lot of plus to it.
Yeah, I think because like the big 3 is like Street Fighter, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat 11, but it seems that with those games, they have a much longer lifetime that they stick around. Like, some people was like, Tekken 7 came out in 2015, and then the new one came out in this year, so that's a 9-year gap. I don't know the exact date on Street Fighter 5. I think it might have been like 2014, 2015. Don't quote me on that, but it's in that ballpark. But then Street Fighter 6 came out in 2023. Mortal Kombat games never last like 7 to 8 years, and I think that's where they're like dropping the ball. Like, if you're gonna just give tons of content, add DLC, and keep the game alive, I think like that's where they can win. And in reality, Mortal Kombat 11 had the potential to do that, because some people feel it was incomplete, which is shocking because I thought it was like a little bit of everything. They said it was still stuff left on the table, like more DLC and a few other things as well.
Yeah, a final patch for MK11 is truly all I think it's missing. I would know we'd have to keep the gameplay mechanics, even though I think there are some scrubby ones that annoy me. But like, a final patch would have been nice to balance their custom variation system. So we kind of got customs, then just nerf Shiva finally. Yeah, MK11 is in a weird spot because in the final, like year 3, year 4, I mean, it was starting to like re-pop off.
Yeah.
If that was the release game, I think it would have been one of the highest selling fighting games. The issue is it wasn't. You just had too many problems. Shiva Stomp was around too long. And I mean, I know we had the lockdown, so it makes sense. But it really is, if say you started the way we ended, that game I do believe would be great, because then you would just patch out all the broke KBs and the broke like flawless block reversals on jailed down ones. Like, get rid of those and the game feels fun at a competitive level.
Yeah, I think sometimes, like, when it comes to this whole competitive versus casual thing, and Tom, some of that, like, we had that conversation, because I consider myself more of like an above average casual. Like, I don't play in tournaments, so like I would have to consider myself there, right? But I think when you're selling like a product to the masses, the casual fan matters more. Like, competitive aspect is cool if it looks interesting, but I think the casual fan keeps the game alive. So like, they need to have that be the focus going forward. Like, competitive sounds great, but you can't make it to where you have the game locked inside of a box that you need to do certain things competitively, because like competitive players are going to adjust. They're going to figure it out anyway. You know what I'm saying? I think they just need to like focus on fun for the next game. That has to be the focus. It's fun.
Yeah, I think like with MK11, it definitely is casual focused, but I think you can even bring this into a future title. Like KBs, for example, clearly casual focused. I mean, you get to see a cinematic by down 2ing somebody. Most used button by a noob. But
J
the
players.
thing is, yeah, if they just like balanced, say the KBs, for example, noob Cybot, to get his back 4-2 shadow grab KB, you need to hit 10 clone attacks. Meanwhile, Sub-Zero to load up, you know, his slide KB is only 3 slides, or Liu Kang, 3 bicycle kicks.
Yeah.
I just wish, and then there's also moves in the game that have KBs that to me feel pointless. They should have just done like 2 or 3 per each character, so make it 3, and make it all usable fun moves with like fun mechanics. So if we're gonna go the casual route, you know, try and even the playing field between all the characters. And I think it could return.
Yeah, because I think that roster was great. I mean, like, I just really hope like the next game is like the best game, but I think sometimes like a little bit of humble pie is what you need. And I think that either one or two things can happen. Mortal Kombat franchise can, I don't want to say die, because that's like a harsh word. Like, it's not going to die because like it just has too much legacy. However, the next game has every reason to be the best game in my opinion. Whether that's with WB or they move elsewhere, the next game should be the best Mortal Kombat we've ever had. But I think it's going to take 4 to 5 years to make. But I don't mind that. Like, even this game, I wish this game didn't come out for another year and a half for it to have just been great and fully completed and full 2v2, not cameos, full 2v2 or 1v1, one or the other. But like, the next Mortal Kombat game has to be the best Mortal Kombat game ever, or we have a problem.
Agreed, actually, because I think MK1 has fun gameplay. Been with playing you in MK11 and playing a bit myself. I played Noob Saibot the other day. It's just, it has some stuff I wish if this game cooked a bit longer, we could have taken from it. And then, you're right, just the next one has to be so good because, yeah, this game, it's finally like everything, you know, like diehard fans would say got exposed, because you had stuff like the whatever, Warrior Shrine. Comes out a whole year later, it's just a leaderboard.
Yeah.
With like some animations.
Yeah.
And yeah, you could say they waited for crossplay, but crossplay came out like season 3. So, I don't know. Like, there was a lot of things shown right here. No crypt, no like anything to do really. It took this long for Towers of Time that they just have to release the next game fully complete in a really fun state right away, and then be proactive after that.
And the most insane thing about that is, this is a wild thought to think, but I don't know about Street Fighter, but in regards to when that game could come out, maybe 29, 30, if it's in that ballpark, the wild thing is Tekken 8 will still be around at that time. That'll still be a game that's going on. Street Fighter 6, I don't know how people are receiving that to the point that it could last that long, but like, think about the fact that like, you make your arguably your worst game in the most modern area, while your other two biggest, the big three, they make their best game, and like that game could still be around. So my thing is, early on I was calling this, like, people call me a hater, but I'm starting to see like a lot of videos pop up of if MK11 was better. A lot of creators are going back to playing MK11. Where do you stand on that? Like what do people try to, like, they've been throwing this hater Shill comment thing around. In what category do you think that they put you in, and like how do you feel about like those two games versus each other as far as the overall reputation?
I think recently, I don't know, I even made the Noob Saibot video, and I think Noob in that game is more fun, MK11, than MK1, so I just titled it in a way that made it like that. And yeah, there are a lot of people that are like, MK11 is super scrubby, you know, I'm more just like joining the slight MK1 hate train. But in reality, I actually was not the OG MK1 hater. I enjoyed the way the game felt, but I always made my criticism known because Scorpion was ass, like, just terrible. Yeah. So it's super boring, and I hated the ambush meta. These days, I think people will say I'm slightly like biased. So not a shill, but because Scorpion is finally good and got all the buffs he needed, I'm one of those people that enjoys the game, which is true. Yeah. I always think MK11 Scorpion didn't get a final patch. But as you said earlier, I would rather play Hanzo. I mean, I use Hanzo-based skins in MK1. It's kind of wild. I don't know. Luckily, I don't get the shill comment too much.
Yeah, I've never. I think a fair amount of people like know I'm being objective, but I have been seeing that go around a lot lately, and I was just wondering where it was coming from because like Tom went really hard on that, and then Sick throws me for a loop because he cooks MK1 sometimes, but he loves MK1 way more than MK11, so I think it's just like a running joke. But I think for me it's like I don't really hate the game. I just kind of it's like what you said. Your favorite character has just gotten like buffs to make it more fun. My favorite character is good and effective, but I mean, I just like doing the mix. I miss my nunchucks. Like, why am I the fire guy and I don't have fire and lightning? It's just so many limitations where it's like, Liu Kang, he's just not as cool. Like, it's fun stuff in the game, but Liu Kang just isn't as cool, so I think that's kind of where my biasness is. But overall, I really think that the next game will be the best game, and it's just a matter of, will they get away from NRS and WB? Will Ed Boon still be like the head of everything? Like I want him to still be that, but I just hope that the next game is like the best one because this can't happen again, bro. Like when I saw that announcement trailer in my memory video, I looked so excited, and like that excitement is not, it's back, but I just had to like kind of curb it some. But I was like super hyped up when I saw that trailer.
Yeah, I was the same way. I won't lie that the game isn't in the state I thought it would be, but I also think the reason there's so much arguments between this is a lot of this discussion happens like on Twitter where you have 140 characters. So
yeah,
when Tom Brady says MK11 is far better, MK1's like the worst game, that's not what he said, but you know, just anybody making these arguments, when you see a tweet of it, it just sounds like a blanket statement, when I think in fact, it's why these days, like I still ride for MK1, but I would happily say I think MK11 single player and customization and just a completeness in general better, but I also think MK1 really removed all the pain point mechanics that I had. Mm-hmm. So like I feel like you could say in between and people really want to like pick one side, even though I think it's like a good in between for me. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't have Breakaway anymore. Breakaway was so crazy. Like, I feel like people have forgotten how much at the time that was annoying, and then a lot of other things that were annoying.
Yeah, because I think when I was playing, I recorded Noob Cyber like a week ago. It's funny that you mentioned that, but I think like when his F2 would drop, it would like frustrate me because certain characters had strings where like it never would happen. You could have time to react. Like Garrus, he's safe from that, but like Liu Kang pressing back one, if I'm staggering, I can get 1, 2, 3. If I do like the whole string, I might like miss and whiff. So like it does get frustrating, but I guess the only thing that's funny to me is like when you say one versus the other, like people have like such an extreme reaction. It's not like a little bit of nuance or objectivity. It's like, oh, you're fucking trash. That's why you love Mortal Kombat 11. It's like, why is it such an extreme reaction? But if you could make your perfect Mortal Kombat game going forward, what all would it include? What like are the main things that you would want?
So we'll start what I would take from MK1. I would take the way jumping gravity works. So the way they stopped all those things from dropping is even your slower buttons, like a forward 3, if I hit Scorpion forward 3, if I hit that on a jumping opponent, it gives the opponent slight float, so you can almost always either hit a stand 1 or stand 2 into spear. So jump mechanics I like. I would bring back up blocking, but I would make jump kicks. I don't know, maybe I wouldn't bring back up blocking because I love anti-airs, but you would need to make jump kicks worse. Let's see, what else? MK11, I'd bring back KBs and flawless block attacks with actual balance. And then I think I'm like slowly leaning towards we need to just go 2v2 for the next Mortal Kombat.
Really?
You know? Yeah. I think you make it a lot like MK1, but, you know, a complete game, and then you take the fun things from MK11, throw that in a 2v2, and I think it would be really fun. And bring back Conquest mode for single player, like a open world I can run around in. I always debated what if NRS made like an Elden Ring clone with Mortal Kombat abilities. Would be cool. Probably will never happen, but just something in the single player that isn't just story mode.
Okay, so
what about you?
I like your list. I was gonna add on to your list because your list is actually pretty good. So the one thing, I'm surprised you didn't mention two things, but the one thing from MK11 I would bring back, short hops. So I'm good with your list with KBs. I love short hops. Short hops is really fun, especially when it comes to command grabs and like beating out lows or just certain strings that end in a low. So that's one thing. Flawless block would definitely be back. Flawless block is probably my favorite mechanic in any Mortal Kombat game ever. Like, I just love how sweaty it is. I'm not a huge fan of up block. I really don't need it because I think the anti-airs and like flawless blocking is like useful in that scenario. I'm not a big fan of the run button. I like footsie, so I don't really like want the run button back from MKX. And then when you said 2v2, I would want that, but the only thing that I would want is for the 2v2 to be characters that are in the base roster, so every base character has like an assist set of moves, or maybe just one move that like does multi-purpose things like Dragon Ball Fighters, and then I would want them to have like tag swappable combos or something like that. But it's it's like
I'm thinking tag swap.
Yeah, like a tag.
Yeah,
because like a tag swap combo where like you can do like a hard knockdown to bring your character in. It could be a mid combo mix up, or it could even be like swapping off of a fatal blow. And then the other thing that I think would be dope with the 2v2 is that when one character dies, the other one stays alive. So it's like a full legit 2v2, not one of those things where like Tekken Tag where when one character dies, the team is just dead and it's over with. So like, I'm surprised at 2v2, but I wouldn't really be against that. They would just have to do it properly. Cause like one of my biggest pet peeves about cameo system, let's say like a combo like Reiko, like when he does like his slam and calls in tremor, I don't like the main character falling in my combo. I hate, like, that's lazy shit to me. I want everything to be like made with love and intentionality and care, and that's why Dragon Ball FighterZ is my favorite fighting game of all time, because like it's just so much attention to detail, and it's hard to explain it to people who don't play it. But like if you play Dragon Ball FighterZ, like, I mean, anything that you pretty much can imagine, the game probably can do if you just can kind of figure out how to do it. So the design-wise, that just takes a bunch of like TLC, in my opinion.
It does look cool when I watch it. You're right. As long as it's just well done, like 2v2 would be a risk because, as we were saying earlier, it has to be a win essentially. Mm-hmm. And 2v2, I mean, the easiest way to win would be go back to 1v1 easily, but would it get boring again in 6 months? You know, I was wondering how you feel. Would you bring back neutral jump punches?
Neutral jump punches.
Like Scorpion Air Sin Blade in MK11, where he like pops you up with neutral jump.
Yeah, I'm not.
So,
that's never been like a problem. Like I've always thought that was cool. I thought that was like base kit stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like how Jackie has like the air missile that can be like annoying when she shoots it down on you. The thing that I don't want back is I don't want anybody flying around full screen. Like I know that there's variety, but like when is the last time you played against like a really good Natara? That shit is like, bro, that shit is cancer. That shit is not fun. It's too much. Yeah, so like
I've done arguments over that character, man. He's downplayed to hell.
Yeah, like I remember like one time I came back and played like this really good Natara, and it was like, oh, I feel, and I won the matches, I won the set, but I felt so overwhelmed because it just felt like I'm this small of a mistake from getting lit up for 50%. You know what I'm saying? And I'm on the ground with Liu Kang throwing fireballs while she's flying around and shit like Iron Man or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I think overall, like, I think that the next game is going to be the best game because I am optimistic, but I think that there's definitely this sentiment that people were hating, but I think that like people are starting to understand now, like we're not hating, we just kind of all want the same thing, which is a great game. Because I mean, even when you and me just played Mortal Kombat 1, that's the most fun I've had playing it in like a good few months. I want every game to feel like that in general.
It's what we're missing. I think a multiplayer mode is finally needed. I feel like Battle Royales really changed what people do in their free time. Like, they play with friends on games. Valorant, you squad up. We need a way to play with friends, because right there, we had fun because we could just talk during the set, which is fine when we're both pretty equal skill. But if you're playing with a friend who is much worse than you, or vice versa, all of a sudden, that friend who's worse than you isn't going to have that much fun, not want to play, would rather play with you. So a way to team up on Mortal Kombat, I think, is like the next big step they take.
Oh, so when you say 2v2, you mean like the possibility of there being 4 players in a match?
Yeah, like 2xKO, you pick a duo and you go in.
Yeah.
So like, because we just need a way to play co-op that isn't against each other, because it makes it so you really need to be close in skill. Otherwise, it's a game that dies in a friend group quickly. This game is most fun in a friend group when nobody knows how to play the game. So you investing any time to do that kills the enjoyment for everyone around you that is just a noob. So
yeah, you got a point. I think I seen a tweet that you made about like playing like a group or something like that. Like one time I went to like a party and they were like, "Oh, you're the guy that makes like Mortal Kombat content, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, "Hey, let's play." That shit ended in 15 minutes. They didn't want to play no more after 15 minutes.
It's just like, it came down to the point when I play with friends, I would almost be like the tournament organizer. Like, I couldn't play anymore, so I'd just be in the King of the Hill spectating my friends while talking, because it's like, oh, it's cool that they enjoy a game I like. but I can't actively play, otherwise it's not fun for them. So I'd prefer a way we could. Would you be super disappointed? Would you even play if the next game was Injustice 3?
I don't have a problem with Injustice 3. I mean, I think that it has to be, right? Like, I think sometimes, like, when you give something a bad reputation, you need to just, like, take a break and cool off and let it come back. So I think that they really don't have a choice but for the game to be Injustice 3. Or even there was rumor there was going to be a Marvel game at some point. I don't know, like, how true that is or isn't based on, like, business negotiations and stuff like that. I would be open to, like, the next game being Marvel.
Would be cool. Would be cool.
Yeah, but I just think that it just sucks that Mortal Kombat came back for 5 years. With, what, Marvel or Injustice?
Yeah, Marvel. I played Injustice 2, but like Marvel versus Capcom or whatever it is back in the day. Mortal Kombat, Marvel, wherever they mixed
talking about
up.
Mortal Kombat versus Ultimate DC. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yes, yeah. I haven't played any of like the superhero crossovers or anything like that, but I would be down for a Marvel type game if they could come out with it.
Yeah, I just think that we're at this point where like Mortal Kombat just needs a break. It just sucks that, in my opinion, it kind of feels like there was just this gap wasted in the middle. Like Mortal Kombat 1 is cool, but like in my opinion, they would have been better off not making it. If we'd got Mortal Kombat 12 and it was complete, that'd be good. But like it just sucks to know that basically we got 2019 Mortal Kombat that ended roughly like 2022-ish, 23-ish. So pretty much to me, there's like a 7-year gap between the next real Mortal Kombat game, because Mortal Kombat 1 is Injustice 3, in my opinion. It's Injustice 2.5.
Agreed.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, we had the challenges in this game that showed Injustice moves as the daily challenges. Mm-hmm. I know people say there's no confirmed proof, but even I remember from the stress test how it was basically the Injustice 2 hit sounds. Like, I swear by that. Maybe I've gotten used to it now, but that was my first reaction. Oh, this was a superhero and sidekick game that got changed.
Oh, I'm gonna go check that out. I never thought about that. I'm gonna go check like my stress test videos and watch my Injustice ones and see if I can notice any similarities. I never ever tripped off that until you said. I've never heard nobody say that until now.
Yeah, it's super weird. Like once you hear it, you'll be like, this was Injustice 3. But again, it's just me speculating. They might have literally tested Injustice 3 in this engine, which is why the challenges showed up for moves that don't exist. Or it could be a removed Mortal Kombat move. So we'll never know.
So I would say that the biggest takeaway from this video when people watch it is that we're not Mortal Kombat 1 haters, we're in the middle. You're more of a Mortal Kombat 1 lover now because your character got buffed. We made our list of what we think would be great. So we had, what was that again? It was Flawless Block, Short Hop, 2v2, No Run Mechanic, Bring Back KBs. You were in the middle on Up Block, and I think those were the main things. And then the fact that we're not Mortal Kombat 1 haters, and that also the next game probably won't come for like another 4 or 5 years, but it's got to be like the best game possible, or the franchise could die.
Big one. Focus on single player NRS. That's how you hold the casuals. If you don't want the game to die, we cannot have online mode only. That's what it feels like. Invasions was a flop. Bring back the Crypt and create a new fun single player experience that isn't me walking around a maze and doing towers. It just felt like towers.
Yeah, I think that they have to know these things. It's enough videos out there. It's enough gripes out there. Like, if they come back and they drop the ball again, it would just be almost mind-blowing. Because I'm still mind-blown by this, but the stuff that you said about, like, WB just needing money and not having many other franchises to rely on, that makes sense. But, like, the next game has to be a smash, bro. Like, it has to. Otherwise, like, I don't know, the franchise could be dead or on hiatus, which would suck because, like, for older gamers, that means you're not playing the next Mortal Kombat till you're 45, 50. Like, we've been around like a long time, bro. Like, some of us older gamers, that shit would suck to not get another great Mortal Kombat game until I'm 45 years old. Like, for real.
That would be tragic. And imagine if NetherRealm got sold off and there was never another Mortal Kombat game. They got bought by a new studio, new IP. I mean, that could happen too. You never know. NetherRealm, we take it for granted. I know people want Ed Boon out and NetherRealm out, but imagine it does get sold. Which company is going to make Mortal Kombat? We would see. I don't know who. So,
I would hate to see Mortal Kombat without Ed Boon. That would just feel unfair, like getting robbed of like your life's work. I know that like the business, like those type of things can happen, but even when Tom said that, I get like the point he was trying to make as far as holding people accountable so we get a great product, but like I would just hate, that would be like seeing Kobe not on the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? Like it just wouldn't make a ton of sense to me. So.
Agreed.
But no, man, fun games today. Great conversation, bro. I appreciate it. It was super fun doing all this. And like, you may make me get back on Mortal Kombat 1 a little more actively because that was legitimately the most fun I've had playing that game in months.
Get back into it. We'll run another set soon, you know?
For sure, bro. For sure. We gonna make it happen, dog. Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, also, people in the video, tomorrow is Diff's birthday. He might be like keeping this secret. He's becoming an old man. Tomorrow is his birthday. So when you see this video, in the comments, give Diff a happy birthday shout out. Same thing on his channel. It's his birthday tomorrow.
Appreciate it, guys.
For sure, bro. Catch you later, bro.